Hi, everyone. This is Global Podcast, your window to the world. Breaking news, big ideas, your global hangout for what's happening now, and bold conversations. Wherever you are, we're bringing it to you. Let's get started.
Welcome back to The Deep Dive, where we cut through the noise and bring you the key insights you need to navigate this ever-changing world.
That's right. No need to sift through endless articles and reports. We do the heavy lifting for you.
So today we're diving into some pretty major developments across international relations, trade, security.
Yeah.
We're talking about, well, a Black Sea ceasefire that seems to have come out of nowhere.
Yeah, kind of unexpected, right. And then there's the potential shakeup in U.S.-India trade.
Oh, and we can't forget about this U.S. visit to Greenland that's causing a bit of a stir.
Plus some rumblings about potential U.S. action in Yemen.
Oh, and then a quite unusual story coming out of India's judiciary. Buckle up, because this is going to be a wild ride.
Let's jump right in. Shall we start with this Black Sea ceasefire? So it's not a direct deal between Russia and Ukraine.
Yeah, it's interesting how it came about, right?
Like, the U.S. actually brokered separate agreements with each side.
After, what was it, 3 days of peace talks in Saudi Arabia?
Exactly. And the goal is to, eventually achieve a lasting peace and to reopen those vital trade routes.
Yeah, because those have been disrupted for so long.
Right. And one of the key parts of this is the agreement to stop attacking each other's energy infrastructure.
Which has been a huge point of contention.
Yeah, for sure. But Russia's not agreeing to this unconditionally.
No, they're definitely playing hardball.
They're saying the ceasefire only holds if some of the sanctions on their food and fertilizer exports are lifted.
Talk about leverage.
Oh, absolutely. And, another interesting thing is that the U.S. actually met separately with the Russian and Ukrainian delegations in Riyadh.
No direct talks between them at all.
Nope, which I think really shows how deep the mistrust runs between those two.
No kidding. Okay, so let's shift gears to U.S.-India trade. There's talk of India possibly slashing tariffs on a whole bunch of American exports.
Yeah, we're talking over 50%.
Which, if you look at the numbers, amounts to something like $23 billion.
They're not insignificant, right?
And this is all happening with President Trump's April 2nd tariff deadline looming.
Yeah, that's definitely adding fuel to the fire.
So high-level talks are happening right now in New Delhi, but it sounds like they're hitting some snags, especially when it comes to agricultural products.
Yeah, agriculture is always a sticking point in these kinds of negotiations.
And you can see why, right? India's got to walk this fine line between opening up to the U.S. market and safeguarding their domestic industries.
It's a delicate balancing act. And not just for India, honestly.
True. A lot of countries are grappling with that same dilemma.
Globalization versus protectionism. It's a tale as old as time.
All right, let's move on to a different part of the world. Greenland. Vice President Vance is tagging along on the second lady's trip there. And, well, let's just say it's raising some eyebrows.
Yeah, the timing is, interesting, to say the least.
So Vance is going to be visiting the Pacific Space Base.
Which is, vital for missile early warning systems.
Right, a strategically important location. And he's also getting a briefing on Arctic security and meeting U.S. forces stationed there.
But the Danish Prime Minister is not happy about this visit at all.
Yeah, he called it unnecessary pressure on both Greenland and Denmark.
And you can understand why, given the history there.
I mean, who could forget President Trump's suggestion of just buying Greenland outright?
Yeah, that didn't go over too well.
But, setting aside the diplomatic drama, Greenland's location between North America and Europe, plus all its oil and mineral wealth, it makes sense that the U.S. would be interested in what's going on there.
Oh, absolutely. It's strategically crucial, even though it's officially self-governing under Denmark.
Right. Okay, let's switch gears again and talk about Yemen. There's been some buzz about the possibility of increased U.S. military action there.
The war zone is reporting that a squadron of B-2 Spirit stealth bombers might be headed to Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean.
That's not exactly a routine deployment.
And satellite images seem to back that up, showing a pretty significant military buildup on Diego Garcia over the past 48 hours.
So this could point to, well, maybe further U.S. strikes against the Houthis.
It's definitely a possibility, and probably a response to the ongoing instability in the region.
Makes you wonder what the tipping point might be.
Yeah, what might trigger those strikes? It's a waiting game, I guess. Okay, last but not least, we have this pretty strange story out of India.
I don't even know where to begin with this one.
So imagine this. A fire breaks out at the house of a high court judge in Delhi.
Okay, that's already not good.
And after the fire's put out, they discover a huge pile of cash.
Whoa, that's That's definitely suspicious.
To say the least. And the Supreme Court Collegium, which is basically the group of senior judges responsible for appointing and transferring judges.
Right, they oversee the judiciary.
They decided to transfer this judge from the Delhi High Court to the Allahabad High Court.
So they took action, but it kind of feels like a sideways move.
It's definitely raising questions about how far this investigation might go and what will happen to this judge.
A lot of unanswered questions there. So, wow, we've covered a lot of ground today, from a fragile ceasefire in the Black Sea to a potential trade deal between the U.S. and India.
And a controversial visit to Greenland, possible military action in Yemen, and a very strange incident in the Indian judiciary.
It's amazing how all these seemingly unrelated events are actually interconnected, painting a picture of this constantly shifting global landscape.
It's all part of this big puzzle, right? Economic interests, security concerns, domestic politics, it all plays a role in shaping the world stage.
It's fascinating and a little bit daunting.
Yeah, I agree. But hey, that's why we do this deep dive, to help make sense of it all.
Exactly. And as we wrap up, it makes you think, what are the long-term consequences of all these developments?
Yeah, like how will this impact the balance of power globally?
And what about international cooperation? Will we see more of it or less? It's a lot to consider, but it's important to keep these questions in mind.
Absolutely. The world's changing fast, and we need to stay informed to navigate it effectively.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.
And remember, keep asking those tough questions and stay curious.
Until then, stay informed and stay engaged.
We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Take care.